For centuries, stories of bizarre and terrifying creatures have captivated the human imagination, giving birth to an extensive collection of folklore and mythology. Among these legends, a sinister new tale took root in the late 20th century, emerging from the darkest corners of Puerto Rico. This chilling creature, known as the Chupacabra, has since become synonymous with fear and mystery, its name sending shivers down the spines of those who encounter it. Over the years, the Chupacabra's influence has spread far beyond the shores of the Caribbean, with reported sightings in the United States, Mexico, and even as far as the distant lands of Russia. But what truly lies behind this enigmatic monster? Is the Chupacabra a genuine creature lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce on its unsuspecting prey? Or is it simply the result of overzealous imaginations and a sensationalist media eager to exploit our deepest fears? As we venture further into the heart of this fascinating mystery, we'll also consider the broader implications of the Chupacabra legend for our understanding of the natural world and the unknown forces that may lie just beyond our reach. Can the Chupacabra tell us something about the human psyche, our penchant for storytelling, and our deep-seated fear of the unknown? And in an age of scientific discovery and technological advancement, what role do ancient myths and legends still play in shaping our collective consciousness? In the early hours of a warm summer night in 1995, the tranquil atmosphere of a small Puerto Rican town was shattered by the frantic barking of dogs. As the velvety darkness stretched on, the cacophony of barking gradually morphed into panicking howls, eventually giving way to an unsettling, ghostly silence. The following morning, the town's residents rose from their disturbed slumber to find a horrifying scene laid out before them. The lifeless bodies of numerous livestock, drained of their vital blood, and mutilated in a manner that defied any rational explanation. Whispers of a mysterious bloodthirsty creature spread like wildfire through the frightened community. Some witnesses claimed to have encountered a bizarre dog-like beast with sinister glowing red eyes, while others spoke of a gargantuan bat-like creature armed with razor-sharp claws. A palpable sense of dread settled over the town as residents hastily secured their doors and windows each night, and the ominous legend of the Chupacabra began to seep beyond the borders of Puerto Rico. In the ensuing months, a deluge of Chupacabra sightings flooded in from every corner of the island. One petrified witness asserted that he had seen the creature perched menacingly on the roof of his house, while another recounted a harrowing tale of the beast soaring through the air like an enormous bat. In each chilling account, the Chupacabra left a macabre tale of bloodless, mutilated corpses in its wake. Despite the mounting number of eyewitness testimonies, skeptics remained staunchly unconvinced. Some proposed that the Chupacabra was nothing more than a feral dog or coyote suffering from mange, while others dismissed the sightings as the product of mass hysteria and media sensationalism. Yet, the legend of the Chupacabra proved stubbornly resistant. As reports of sightings continued to pour in from across the Americas, a new wave of speculation and conspiracy theories began to emerge. Some conjectured that the creature was the result of a government experiment gone horribly awry, while others posited that its presence signaled an impending apocalypse, heralding the end of the world. In the fall of 1971, a group of teenagers set out on a camping trip in the dense forests of northern Minnesota. They had planned to spend the weekend hiking, fishing, and telling ghost stories around the campfire. But what they encountered in those woods would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The crisp fall air carried the scent of pine and damp earth as a group of teenagers trekked deeper into the dense forest. They laughed and joked as they made their way through the twisting, gnarled trees, excited for the weekend, of the adventure ahead. But as they ventured further from civilization, a sense of unease began to settle upon them like a heavy fog. The woods seemed to shift and whisper around them, and the hairs on the back of their necks stood on end. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, they found a small stream and set up camp, building a fire and pitching their tents. They cooked hot dogs over the flames and swapped ghost stories, the flickering light casting eerie shadows across their faces. But their peaceful evening was soon shattered by a cacophony of sounds, rustling leaves, low growls, and the snap of twigs underfoot. At first, they brushed it off as the typical nocturnal activity of the forest, but as the night wore on, the noises grew louder and more insistent, until they were impossible to ignore. As the moon rose high in the sky, they saw it, a creature unlike any they had ever seen before. It stood taller than a man, with shaggy brown fur and eyes that glowed like hot coals. Its snarling mouth was filled with razor-sharp teeth, and the teenagers could feel the creature's hot breath on their skin as it roared in fury. Panic set in as the teens frantically gathered their gear and ran as fast as they could through the tangled woods. The creature pursued them, its powerful legs propelling it through the underbush with terrifying speed. They could hear its panting breaths and the thud of its footsteps growing ever closer. Just as they thought they could run no more, they stumbled upon a small cabin in a clearing. With shaking hands, they flung open the door and rushed inside, slamming it shut behind them. But the creature was not deterred, pacing back and forth outside and scraping its claws against the wood, its guttural growls filling the cabin with bone-chilling menace. The night was long and harrowing as they huddled together, listening to the creature's frenzied howls and the sound of its claws scraping against the walls. They could hear it prowling outside, searching for a way in, and they knew that their lives hung in the balance. At first light, they made a break for it, sprinting through the forest as fast as their legs could carry them. They finally reached the safety of their car, gasping for breath and hearts pounding in their chests. The teenagers told their tale to anyone who would listen, but many dismissed it as a hoax or an overactive imagination. But as time passed, more and more reports surfaced of similar creatures, not just in Minnesota, but all across the country. The creature that stalked those teenagers through the woods remained a mystery, its identity shrouded in darkness and fear. It was a hot and humid night in the summer of 2005, when a farmer in a small town in Texas made a gruesome discovery. Several of his prized goats had been killed, their bodies left drained of blood and mutilated in a way that defied explanation. This was not the first time such an incident had occurred in the area, and rumors of the Chupacabra began to spread. The farmer's goats had been found mutilated and drained of blood before, but this time was different. This time the wounds were deeper, the damage more extensive. The farmer knew he had to act. He could not let the creature continue to terrorize his animals, his family, his town. And so he rallied a group of his closest friends and family members, all armed with shotguns and flashlights, and set out to the woods on that fateful night. The forest was thick and dark, the air heavy with a scent of pine and decay. The only sound was the crunching of the leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl. But as they walked deeper into the woods, the atmosphere grew more oppressive, the silence more unnerving. It was then that they heard the growling. It seemed to come from every direction, echoing off the trees and bouncing back at them. They stopped in their tracks, shining their flashlights into the darkness, trying to see what was making the noise. But they could see nothing. And then they heard it again, closer this time. And this time, they could hear the sound of something moving through the forest. something that was not supposed to be there. The farmer and his group of friends huddled together, their shotguns at the ready, their hearts pounding in their chests. And then, suddenly, it was upon them. The Chupacabra. It was a sight they would never forget, a creature that defied explanation. Standing on two legs like a man, but covered in thick matted fur. Its eyes glowed like hot embers, and its teeth were long and razor-sharp. It let out a blood-curdling scream, and the farmer and his companions knew that they were in grave danger. They opened fire, blasting the creature with shot after shot, but it seemed to shrug off the bullets as if they were nothing. It charged forward, its claws slashing through the air, and the farmer and his group of friends scattered, running for their lives. The Chupacabra pursued them through the forest, its hot breath on their necks, its claws ripping at their clothing. They ran until they could run no more, collapsing in a tangled heap on the forest floor. When they returned to the town, they were pale and shaken, but they knew that they had seen something that could not be explained away. They spoke of the Chupacabra with hushed tones and fearful whispers, warning others to stay away from the woods at night. But the creature was not done with them yet. Over the years, more and more reports of mutilated animals and strange sightings began to surface in the area. They claimed to have seen the Chupacabra lurking in the shadows. Others reported hearing its haunting cries in the dead of night. The farmer and his friends had faced the creature head-on and lived to tell the tale. But they knew that they were lucky. The Chupacabra was a force to be reckoned with, a creature of myth and legend that had come to life in the darkness of the forest. And it was out there, somewhere, waiting for its next victim. Before I conclude this story, I just want to say thank you for choosing to watch this video, and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you are, please hit that like button, and if you don't already, subscribe to my channel. Also, those of you that have been kind enough to support me on my new Patreon account were able to get early access to the audio of this story ad-free prior to my YouTube upload. I have a starting tier of just $3 per month for early access and $9 per month exclusive content access tier, where you not only get access to behind-the-scenes content, but also an exclusive Tales of High Strangeness pin. Also, I must just take a brief moment to announce we have launched a new merch store on our website, daredevil.com. We are doing a limited run on this RIP Mr. Sinister shirt, and you can also get these super comfortable Bella and Canvas hoodies I wear in my videos. We'll have more merch launching soon. It was a quiet summer evening in the small town of San Antonio when Maria first heard the strange noises. She lived in a small farm on the outskirts of the town, surrounded by fields of crops and the occasional cow or goat. But the noises that she heard that night were unlike anything she had ever heard before. At first, she dismissed it as the sound of a nearby animal. But as the night wore on, those noises grew louder and more persistent. It was as if something was moving through the darkness, stalking the farm, waiting for its moment to strike. Maria had heard the rumors of the Chupacabra, the legendary creature said to prey on livestock in the night. She had always thought them to be nothing more than superstition. But as the sounds grew closer, she began to fear that there might be some truth to the tales. As the moon rose high in the sky, Maria went out to check on her animals. She found the goats huddled together, their eyes wide with fear. And then she saw it, standing at the edge of the field, illuminated by the silvery moonlight. It was a creature unlike anything she had ever seen before. The Chupacabra was massive, its fur matted and dirty. Its eyes glowed like hot coals, and its teeth were long and razor-sharp. Maria's heart pounded in her chest as the creature began to move forward, its steps measured and calculated. She tried to run, but her feet seemed rooted to the ground. The Chupacabra closed in on her, its hot breath on her neck. And then, as if from nowhere, a gunshot rang out, shattering the stillness of the night. It was her neighbour, Manuel, who had come to investigate the strange sounds. He had seen the chupacabra stalking Maria and had taken aim, firing a shot that had grazed the creature's shoulder. The chupacabra let out a deafening scream, turning its attention to Manuel. It charged forward, its claws slashing through the air, but Manuel stood his ground, his shotgun at the ready. The two squared off in the moonlight, each waiting for the other to make a move. And then, as if with a sudden burst of energy, the chupacabra charged forward, its jaws open wide. Manuel fired and the creature stumbled, its eyes rolling back in its head. It let out one final scream, a sound that would stay with Maria for the rest of her life, before collapsing to the ground. The next morning, Manuel and Maria inspected the remains of the creature. It was like nothing they had ever seen before, a twisted, mutated thing that seemed almost otherworldly. The legend of the chupacabra has captured the imagination of people all over the world for decades, with reports of sightings and attacks continuing to this day. But what do these stories and legends really tell us about our fears and our desires? At the heart of the chupacabra legend is the idea of the unknown, the unseen, and the inexplicable. It is a creature that defies explanation, a being that seems to exist on the fringes of our understanding of the world. In this sense, the chupacabra can be seen as a manifestation of our deepest fears and anxieties, representing the unknown and unexplained that lurks just beyond our understanding. But the chupacabra also represents something more than just fear. It is a creature that embodies our desire for adventure, our yearning for the mysterious and the exotic. It is a creature that exists beyond the mundane, a being that challenges us to venture beyond the limits of what we know and to explore the unknown. The chupacabra legend is also characterized by motifs of violence and aggression, with reports of the creature attacking and killing livestock and other animals. This reflects our own primal instincts and desires, our deep-seated urges to dominate and control the world around us. But the legend of the chupacabra also reveals something about the cultural context in which it emerged. It is a product of a world in which the boundaries between the human and the natural world are becoming increasingly blurred. A world in which science and technology are constantly pushing us to rethink our place in the cosmos. In this sense, the chupacabra can be seen as a symbol of our ongoing struggle to define ourselves and our relationship to the world around us. The legend of the chupacabra is a fascinating and complex phenomenon that has captured the imagination of people around the world. Its origins are shrouded in mystery and uncertainty, and its true nature remains elusive and enigmatic. But regardless of its origins, the legend of the chupacabra continues to inspire and captivate people all over the world, reflecting our deepest fears, desires, and hopes. This story was written and narrated by me, James Deverell. Thank you for watching this video. Again, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you don't already, subscribe to my channel. I have just launched the podcast version of this YouTube channel on all major podcast platforms, so don't forget to head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe. Right now, the content on there is ad-free, so you can take advantage of that. Don't forget to check out the content I'm releasing on other platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And finally, if you or anyone else you know has a story about anything related to high strangeness, please reach out to me with a brief description to stories@daredeverell.com. Thanks again for watching.